Good morning, students. If you remember that in the previous session of Civics Chapter 2, we studied about secularism in detail, like the features of secularism, why do we have to adopt, or why there is a need to adopt secularism, and why we have to keep the state separate from the religion. And we also studied that the strategies which the Indian state follows in order to achieve its secular status. Today's topic of discussion will be that how is Indian secularism different from that of other democratic countries? Now, there are many democratic countries in the world, and they also follow this secularism, like USA and so many other countries. So, how is Indian secularism different from the other countries that we are going to discuss today? Now, many of the objectives of the other democratic countries and Indian state about secularism, they are almost similar. They are very, very similar and they have many common points. Then what is the difference? How is Indian secularism different? Like if we study the case of USA, the USA constitution also it prohibits its legislature from making any kind of laws which respect a particular religion or which give importance to a particular religion, or it also prohibits the free exercise of any kind of any religion. So the USA Constitution is also similar to Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution also says that we should not have any official religion. So same way, the US Constitution also says that the legislature, it cannot declare any religion as the official religion, and nor can it give any preference to any one religion. Now, the separation between the state and religion means that neither the state can interfere into religion, nor can the religion interfere into the matters of state. And this in separation in case of USA is very, very strict. And here is how we in Indian secularism we differ from them, because in Indian secularism, as we have studied earlier, the state can intervene in religious affairs in some matters. But of course, that intervention, it is based strictly on the ideals which are laid down in the constitution. So that's the point of difference. Otherwise, US Constitution and Indian Constitution, they both agree to this point that there should not be any official religion, but US Constitution, the US state and religion is, the separation between them is very strict. But in case of Indian secularism, the Indian state can intervene into the religious matters in some cases. Like we have studied the example of untouchability. The Indian constitution, when the Indian state, when it saw that the members of the same religious community, the dominant members, the upper caste members, the upper caste Hindus, they were ill-treating the lower caste members of the same religion. So their constitution, it banned untouchability. So, like in the inheritance rights, the states intervened there in religious personal laws of religion, so that equal inheritance rights are there for everyone. So that's the point of difference. The Indian state, it can intervene in the religious affairs, but it does maintain a kind of distance, but that intervention, it is strictly based on the ideals laid out in the constitution. So these ideals, they serve as a standard through which we can judge whether the state is behaving like a secular state or not. So this is how the Indian secularism differs from the other democratic countries. So Indian state, it works very hard in order to be a secular state, and it follows various strategies to prevent the religious domination. And the Indian constitution also guarantees fundamental rights based on these secular principles only. But that does not mean that there are no violations of these rights in the Indian society. Many times we see such violations, they happen frequently. And that is why we need constitution. That is why we need the constitutional mechanism to prevent all these violations from happening. And moreover, the knowledge that such rights they exist, it makes us sensitive to these violations, because if we know that there is a right to equality, or there is a right to freedom of religion, so if we see in the society any kind of violation to this happening, then we as Indian citizens, we can stand up against them. We can go, or we can go to the court, and we can file a case against them. So that is why the knowledge of fundamental rights and the knowledge about country's constitution, it is important, and that is why the study of civics is also very important. Actually, civics tells us about constitution, the state setup of the country, and if we know everything, then nobody can dominate us. So, this is how we finish this chapter, and I hope you might have understood. Now, please go through this chapter once again, and along with this, I'm sending some question answers, some notes, which you have to write down in your civics notebook. Thank you.